Hey guys, welcome, and I just wanted to go through how you can start looking at your heliocentric astrobiology chart. It's a little bit different than astrology. We're going to go through step by step how you can research and look at your own chart, understand it, and ideally understand the people around you, the cycles you're going through, and what they're going through, and ideally it makes you a little more wise and much more understanding. The next process in this is the development of emotional intelligence through this education. So let's move forward. Take a look at astro.com. Here it is. You can see on the screen. I'm going to walk you through how you can do a heliocentric chart. So we're going to go down to free charts. So let's take a look at free horoscopes right here. We're going to go all the way over here to natal chart for the ascendant. And then what you can do is you can start putting your information in here. So let's go and just create something fun. Let's say wisdom practice. Let's say it's an event. Let's make it a person, whatever. And then let's say the 1st of January, 19. Let's make the person young and wise, 90. There you go. And let's say, if you don't know the time, put unknown. The time is really good for you, specifically for the combination of the moon. The tides, the lunar aspects, the cycles of nature, all of that has an effect, and affects us. And so knowing its cycles are important. Women are more glaringly connected to it through their moon cycle. Men have a similar cycle. They go through that more emotionally. And each guy and each woman is absolutely different in how they deal with it. So that, if you don't know the time, that's okay, but try to find out. Call your mom, call your dad, find out on your birth certificate, however. Next, let's just say I like Canada. And then let's go to the birth town. And the birth town, let's just say, let's go Vancouver. I like Vancouver. There we go. And then we're just going to continue. So we're going to actually show the extended drawings. And what we're looking for is, that's fine. We're just going to continue here for right now. Oh, we'll put the unknown. There we go. There. Now this right here is a geocentric chart. This is interesting. This is what's called a solo chart, and you can see because there's right over there's this one little guy just standing over there, and then one on the other side is hemispheric, and you can see all the planets on one side. So that's an interesting day and time to be born at. And moving forward, the idea is to understand how geocentric versus heliocentric works. So you can see right here, you can see the sun, and the sun is where this right here is the position of the solar system on the at this particular date and time on January 1990, and standing right here from the Earth's point of view, we're taking a look at the sun, and behind it there is the constellation of Capricorn. And directly there, just from looking at the Earth, from the Earth's perspective, where that person was born at that specific time and date and that longitude and latitude and so on, you can see that there was Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury also there. And all of this it's in a train fashion right there, which is really interesting. I like that. That's fascinating. And a lot to think about and talk about. And then what you have right over here is you have Mars, and then you have Venus, and you have the moon over there as well, and here's Pluto. And these are all in aspect to each other. These are called conjunctions when they're really close to each other, and when they're like this, it's called an opposition. And when like this radio over here is 120 degrees, so it's all geometry. It's all math. And this is how geometry is used, guys. So let's go back. I'm going to go to extended drawings. let's see what we can do here. So I'll go back to the free horoscopes, extended chart selections right there. So let's make sure I went there the right way. Extended charts. There you go. So there we go. We'll just have it like that. And we're looking for heliocentric. If it's right here, let's have just a quick look. I've got something called a wind star, and so that's what I use. There we go. There's so much you can get lost in astrology, guys, and you can see it right here. It's just incredible. The amount, there's something called a super chart, and it's by a scientist group called, the book is called Recent Advances in Natal Astrology, and it was one of the first books that was shown to me by my mentor in astrobiology, my coach, essentially. And you can get lost in all of this. And the idea is to become practical in the understanding of your cycles and have a happy life. So there's special charts right there. I think it might be under that. There it is. Let's have a look. They've changed it since the last time I've used it. Okay, so what you do is you go over here to ephemeris, and under the ephemeris you're going to be going to options, which right here is the heliocentric. That's the first step. And then let's show the ephemeris right here. I'll show you a bit more there. Oh, I guess it downloaded it. All right, let's have a look at it. I guess that's for 2016. It's actually very valuable. What you're able to do is with the heliocentric ephemeris, it allows you to take a look at where the planets are today and compare that to the day that you were born, when your life started, and you're able to see the process of the cycles. And every human being goes through this, and everything on this earth goes through this. It's quite a fascinating relationship that we have. So to get the heliocentric chart, remember I put the geocentric one earlier on. I got my name up here. Then what I did is I went over here. So you saw there were circular charts. You can get lost here. I certainly did. There's specialty charts. Again, I kind of got lost there too. And then there's the ephemeris. And the ephemeris is very good. It allows you to see, and I'm going to show you that in a couple minutes. And then what you have is you have this right over here. And this is where you're going to say that you want a heliocentric. It says, please select this option only if you really know what you're doing. I really know what I'm doing. And you don't want any of this stuff. All this stuff, it's basically all created to sell books. And it's not a problem with selling books. I think books are interesting. But again, you can get lost in the garden path, and what you're really interested in is how can this stuff help me practically? How can it help my family? How can it help my relationship? How can it help me? Can it help my business? Can it help my career? Can it help me and can it help me both spiritually and practically and physically? The answer is yes to all of the above. In my practice in the many years, yes to all of the above. So let's show the chart. Here it is. This is the actual chart for wisdom practice. Remember the other one? We saw it was hemispheric and in Capricorn. Now, what's really interesting about this chart is that on this chart, the center of the solar system is our sun. And in modern astrology, they say that, yeah, but you're on the Earth. Well, that is true in regards to understanding our seasons and our moon cycle. Yes, the Earth is extremely important, seeing as we live on it, and it gave us life, and it supports life, and we should keep it safe and protected, absolutely. We are connected to the Earth, but to say that it is the center of the solar system is like saying that the Earth is flat. It's a ridiculous common sense. It's passé, it's old, it's no longer common sense, it's more like superstition. So the reasonable act for each of us practicing any sort of wisdom in this life, which means that if something comes along and we see it to be better, then we slowly adapt to it. Child does not learn to run overnight. It's a process. Everything that we do as human beings is that exact same process. Approach it with a little more enthusiasm and excitement. Look at how a child just goes towards a certain thing with interest and just goes, it's interesting. And then that goes into a little bit more into practice, and whether it's liked or not. Some things take longer to like and some things take shorter to like. The difference between sugar and Brussels sprouts for children. Put the two in front of them and which do you think they'll like? As you grow older, you realize that Brussels sprouts are extremely healthy for you and the sugar is less. So we're able to develop that sense, that idea. So here at the center of the solar system, what we have is the sun. And we have all the planets. We have Saturn up here, Neptune, and that's Uranus. And you need to become familiar with the planetary symbols in astrobiology. If you're using other custom program charts or something you create yourself, the planets can be indicated by colors, which is fine, and then a legend on the side, right, like this, can be used. And the symbols right over here, the astrological symbols, are made into sectors from 1 to 12. And you can see this all goes kind of like in this particular direction, whereas in astrobiology we actually use the way we use 1 to 12 on the opposite the opposite way. So we're using more of a scientific approach, so that when the data and the information is shared with our peers for analysis, what they're able to see is they're able to go through it and reanalyze the data and come up with the same information. We're basically applying statistical research to astrology. I called it astrobiology, and there's astropsychology as well, which is phenomenal. And there's astrophilosophy. What does it all mean? Also. And so what we can see right here is I've had a lot of time studying what does it all mean and what our relationship is. I've studied many charts, and you can see right here this particular, there's Mercury. So when you looked up there, remember that chart before, the sun was up here, Mercury is over there, Venus is over there. It's totally different. It's totally different on purpose. The perspective of Earth is warped in comparison to the center of our solar system. The Earth is not the center of our solar system. We are part of a solar system. That's a first bit of common sense I can share, and hopefully you grab that one. It's important. I mean, I look up and very often when you look up to the sky, guys, and you're standing on the Earth and you just are still, you look up and you can actually see the rotation. 4 degrees every minute we're rotating, guys. 4 degrees every minute we're rotating, and it's just it's magnificent. We are in space. This is a magical place, a holy place. That's how I feel about it. So when you're taking a look at the chart, you're saying, what in the world does it all mean? And now this is where all the research comes in. This is where understanding the symbols, understanding the angles, understanding your chart, all that comes into play. You can take a look at both charts, print both charts. The geocentric is not necessarily fully wrong, it's just half right. Whereas the heliocentric, in addition to the understanding of our natural cycles of where we live on the Earth, along with the moon cycles as well, adds a greater depth to our relationship to something greater. And we are certainly in a relationship with something greater. So, moving forward, let's take a look at that spreadsheet here that I pulled up earlier. This right here is the ephemeris. Ephemeris. We're going to go and zoom in a little bit. So, we can go all the way down here. Let's go to the actual month that we're in. And this is what a practicing astrobiologist would do, would take a look. Astrologers do very similar. They use the geocentric, though. And they might add a whole bunch of other stuff that you don't necessarily need in the interpretation of your cyclical goal setting. So you can use these cycles, and then you'll find that you're constantly going through different cycles, maybe repeating yourself, reminding yourself of certain things. It's interesting, the studies that we've done so far, and as I get a little bit further into this, we're going to be going through all those different studies. So you can see right here, here's the moon. Remember, those are the symbols are important. I remember when I first saw this back in the 90s, no, it was middle 90s actually, maybe 95, middle of 95, 96, around that. And I saw this girl, her name is Shannon, and she had a geocentric ephemeris at the time, because I learned geocentric first, and I had a teacher that I studied with for 3 years. And then I ended up meeting a scientist, went to UBC, and he slowly released the superstition from my mind and showed me the science. And I couldn't ever be more grateful. I mean, geez, I got a certificate from Jeff as well, the Cosmic Data Bank. At the time, I was one of 5 people in the world that knows this, and there was 3 other scientists, maybe 4 other scientists that are studying this, and it's actually grown. It's grown, and it's becoming more known, and in other languages as well. So when I saw Shannon, I was like, I got to know this stuff. I have to understand this, because I was on the search for enlightenment. I wanted to not just have faith. I wanted to know. And so I started the process of looking, and one day I was introduced to someone I'd been practicing this for years and years and years, and that's another story for another day. And so regardless, you can see right here, this right here is the symbol of Pisces. This is Mercury. This is Scorpio, Sagittarius. This right here is Taurus. This is Capricorn. This is Libra, Sagittarius again. These are generational planets right over here. So the only planets I look at are these planets here. And if you don't know your moon time, I'll just not even consider it. That's something you're gonna have to observe yourself. So you can see where the Earth is located as well. So your sun sign, 98% of people know their sun sign. You just think of the opposite sign. That's the Earth sign, and that's your body. As a matter of fact, that's who you are in this particular life. This is it, and what expresses through that are all the multiple choices that you make. It's like a choose your own adventure in many ways, and we're all given a different kind of journey to go on. And so these are generational. Whole generations have these. Everyone who's born in this particular time will have Saturn right over here. But how does this relate to this guy right over here, this wisdom practice guy? Well, we take a look, and we see over here, we can see the dynamics over here in the sign of Cancer. This would be the 4th sector in astrobiology. We can also see over here, this right here is the 10th sector, which is Capricorn. And so we're not using the housing system and the sign system or anything like that. The program still needs to be developed for a great heliocentric chart maker. And whoever's listening to this, perhaps you can help in that process. It would be greatly appreciated. So you take a look, and we see what is going on. So let's say Mars over here in Capricorn. So okay, this is just ending. This is going into Aquarius. Aquarius is over here. So you can time that. When it gets over to around here, that Mars, when it gets over to about here, we need to observe and see what happens in this person's life. Is it a favorable thing that's happening? What are the circumstances? What are the choices they're making? So it becomes very much a coaching process. You're learning and studying, and eventually working with an individual, or doing it yourself, and you're studying it yourself. You can do this all yourself. It takes practice. I went through 3 years of understanding this stuff, and I went 2 to 3 times a week, and every time I went, I paid every single time. So guys, I paid for this information, and I paid willingly, and I treated it like a karmic yoga. I realized that it would come back in some wonderful and wise way. And so be willing to share is what I'm going to recommend. I know I did, and I got something beautiful from it. And that was my first teacher, my first mentor, coach. The second one, the astrobiologist, he has, from the kindness of his heart, shared this information and just developed a wonderful relationship over the last number of years. And obviously wants recognition. And we'll get to that as we go through the sessions. So what you're looking at is you're looking at observing your particular cycles and just starting where you are right now. And you can go back in time and go forward in time. And then what you do is you start putting charts together for your relationships, your children, your family members, your uncles, your aunts, your brothers, your sisters, the people you're close to, your lovers, your lover, your wife, your husband, whatever it is. And then what we can start doing is we can start taking a look at specific dates. And those specific dates are important, and how you interact with people and that specific date. There are certain dates that are better than others. And the importance is to get an understanding for yourself first, and then just simply make it a part of your natural understanding of the 45,000 days that you have here. You want to make the wisest possible choices for your happiness and the happiness of the people around you, ideally. So with that, I think that's probably enough for today, and hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll talk to you next time.